So let's start with defining what is TokenD. Before I actually show you something, we need to make sure that everybody understands what it is. And the best way to describe it is to, first of all, understand what it is not. So first of all, like TokenD is not a particular blockchain. This means that basically it's not like some public or private blockchain to which we connect someone. This is not the case. The second thing, TokenD is not like a B2C ready-made platform, meaning that it's not something that we as Distributed Lab launched and we onboard our clients on it. We just use it for different projects to launch their B2C platform. So TokenD, first of all, is a B2B framework for building different kinds of platforms. And so the examples are like real estate platform, tokenization platform, loyalty system platform, like any kind of digital wallet, digital bank. Those are different examples of use cases where such product as TokenD could be used. So we do not provide it on a software as a service basis. So TokenD is an on-premise software. This means that we set up the entire system on the infrastructure of the requester, basically. So whoever, like if you need like a kind of a digital bank or something like that, we set up the entire system on your servers and it's controlled entirely. So there's an option of a full code audit and all that stuff. You can even put the source code on the balance sheet of the company if that's needed in some cases. So I'm gonna start with this picture. It's not, it's not perfect from the design perspective, but it shows the overall idea, the context. What's it all about? So let's split it all into 3 perception levels, where the first one is a security protocol. Well, the third one is this external world with like people walking, custom application, coronavirus. I don't know. By the way, they should wear masks. Those people. So there are banks, there are these Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, any kinds of systems, the external world. And so there's a security protocol layer which could use blockchain, it could not use blockchain. In our case, obviously we do use it, and we use the features of blockchain to implement certain things. And we provide the API to connect those things with the external world. And so these are examples. Let me just do it like that. These are examples of the features we implemented on top of a security protocol in this middleware layer, which TokenD is, in essence is. So TokenD is a middleware. So basically you have the digital identity, like internal accounting system, KYC management, and a lot of different things. So when Pavel said that we basically use it as bricks for projects, these are examples of bricks. So basically when there's a kind of a certain project coming and we define, okay, what do you need inside? And it goes like check marks. Do you need an internal accounting system? Yes or no? Okay, yes, like check. Do you need like internal KYC? Or maybe you need to configure fees or something like that. Or for example, if it's a crowdfunding platform, then you might need a secondary market to trade these shares, tokens on the secondary market within. If it's a digital bank, then probably you would use like a crypto custody solution also with KYC management and other stuff. So these are examples of the bricks. And we use those bricks, we build this platform, and then it is integrated with this world. So it is integrated with legacy systems, it is integrated with some other third-party, for example, verification services such as like Identity Mind, which is a like KYC provider, or any other like CRM systems, anything like that. Now, about the architecture. So when I say that TokenD is on premise, I literally mean that the easiest way to do that is that you can have an AWS account, for example, and we would launch the system on the server of AWS or on the physical server that you have. That doesn't matter really. So it could be one node, one server, or it could be a couple of them, up to like 5, 10, any number you wish, basically, and they would store the ledger independently. So again, TokenD by itself is not, it uses blockchain as a ledger and as a security protocol, but it's not in essence the blockchain. So there are no miners there, there are no tokens. So, and when we set it up on premise, you have this kind of ledger, and you have this middleware where we define which bricks you basically need. And then it is connected with APIs with this external world, like you see here. So the external world, in more specifics, like I said before, this is a bank, payment gateway, external exchanges, external public blockchains, for example, Bitcoin or Ethereum, like those CRM systems, as I said before. Like to make now, so we have this like framework, which is configurable for different platforms. To boost the development of projects, we also developed our own web applications that speak to this middleware and utilize a certain functionality of the middleware. So what I'm going to show you in the demo right now is essentially those front-end pieces that we've developed on top of the middleware level. And these front-end pieces, they just clearly show you like how you do crowdfunding, how you do secondary trading, what is a digital wallet, how it works, etc. So what you need to understand when I'm going to actually show you the user flows is that this is not where it ends. This is actually where it starts. So we have this front end, but when we launch someone, then we either customize the existing front end if it's close to what is needed eventually, or sometimes people even use their own applications and they just utilize our APIs to do that. So for example, like if there's a social network that needs a digital wallet, they do not need our front end. They have their own social network. They would just integrate the social network application with the digital wallet functionality that we have here. So yes, now I'm gonna log in. So first of all, the demo will be split basically into two parts, which I will show simultaneously: the user flow, what end users kind of see, and the administrator flow. One sec, sorry. I need Seed to log in. Yeah, and the administrator flow. So admin panel is something that the platform owner uses to manage certain processes on their platform. And yeah, user panel is obviously something users interact with to do some things. So again, this is just something we built like a reference implementation that shows that it's operational. So here you can see dashboard is basically a wallet. So this is closer digital bank functionality. You can send money, etc. Like in the asset section, you can see all the tokens or assets created, and even we have this thing that users can create the assets themselves if it is needed in the platform. So sales section with the crowdfunding, where like fundraisers, they create their crowdfunding campaigns, and obviously as an investor you invest in it. The polls, this is also quite straightforward, it's just polls. The secondary market here, and some other things, like I can see the limits, I can see the fees that I pay to the platform owner, etc.
Bogdan, I will add that again, to repeat what you've said, that all this functionality that you see is also available and at API level. So it's just the reference implementation. It could be extended or changed or customized. So our idea was to cover, I would say, 80% of what anyone may ever need. Because as I said, we implemented around 30 projects, but we reviewed around 500 specifications for different fintech projects. And basically, what we figured out is that these 500 different projects, which is a good representation, they have 80% in common. So it's the same login procedures, the same key recovery, the same crowd investing if it's there, the same secondary market functionality, and the same like role management, user management. So that this is our understanding of how these features may work. It's not necessarily how it should work in your platform, but it's like default implementation. And yeah, to say once again, you can use the Zoom chat to ask any question or just unmute your microphone and speak.
Yeah, we really encourage you to do that, because I usually ask people to just, if there is a question in mind, just let me know right at this moment, because we need to make sure, everybody understands it. So like the dashboard, it works like you can see the balances in different currencies. Yes. So, and it is a wallet. So I'm a user, I have a wallet, I have this amount of dollars. Obviously this amount is fake. These are fake dollars because that's a demo installation of our platform. So I can send them, like, let's send $400 to another account. Yeah, this is right. So as you can see, we really aimed not to let users ever see like private keys or public keys, nothing like that. They just use like as an identifier, an email could be used, or mobile number, or essentially anything. So you just, you know, specify the identifier of the person you want to send to, and you send the money. Obviously, like from the architecture, like this is a transaction which is going on in the internal ledger, because TokenD in essence could be used for like a payment system. So this is not, when you see dollars being sent here, these are not dollars which are sent in the external world. Okay, it's like dollars sent within the system. These are digital representation of dollars, while the actual ones are lying on the corresponding bank account of the platform owner. So yeah, I just sent the money. Here's my transaction and the transaction history, and obviously this guy, this is my another account as well, would receive the dollars in the wallet. Like under the hood, this is a, again, blockchain transaction going on in this ledger, and it is signed by my by the key of the account, by my key. And technically we implemented it in a way that the platform owner doesn't know passwords and doesn't know private keys of users here. So even if someone would hack your servers, they wouldn't reach the account of users. It would be impossible. Now, this is the list of all the assets that are existent on this specific TokenD instance. So they're split by those who are created by administrators and those who are created by users. So if there is a need, for example, like sometimes if it's a digital bank, then obviously you do not need end users to create their own tokens. But if it's a crowdfunding platform where you have on one end, you have investors, and on the other hand, you have startups who are fundraisers, then there is such functionality that allows you to have those end users, and they have this interface to create their own tokens, which could represent, for example, shares of the company or something like that. So once this token is created, how it works, you specify the name, the code, whether it is transferable or not, and other things. And so when you create this request, it is being sent to the like admin panel, and the admin would see this request in this section, and he would like approve or reject it. Obviously, when I say admin, again, I mean the platform owner, basically, or some guy who was hired by the platform owner to be the admin. When a real production system is launched, it might make sense to also have not one administrator who is like a super guy who can do everything, who can do like KYC recovery, issuance, and all that stuff. You can split the roles into different, and this is also customizable. So yeah, and as to these crowdfunding, if we say build a crowdfunding platform, so the out of the box user flow is that the user created the internal token. Now the user who is a fundraiser, now he would create the crowdfunding sale eventually. And this crowdfunding sale that he will create will be visible in this section. And now I, for example, as an investor, I would go here and like see the information, and I would choose to invest or not. So the creation of crowdfunding sales is quite straightforward. So you just specify basic things like name, soft cap, hard cap, start time. You can whitelist it, meaning that you specify the explicit list of investors who are able to participate or not. So and other things. So once you create this request, it is also being sent to the admin panel. And again, there's like a guy in the glasses sitting and verifying and basically approving it or rejecting the request. If the request is approved, then the sale is visible here, and all the investors can join, can invest in it. Now, how the investment works in the crowdfunding campaign platform case. So I, as an investor, I would specify like the asset I want to invest with, and let's say, okay, I'm gonna invest $300. By the way, important thing here is that you can see that, okay, I as a user, I invest $300, and I'm gonna confirm it right now. But I can also see that I'm gonna pay the fees for this operation. And so these fees that I pay is something that an admin, again, the guy with the glasses, would specify in the fees section here as well. So we have this fees management section, which allows you to set fees on different types of operations, types of accounts, and set up those rules. So basically, like if it's payment, like say, I want to take fees on all outgoing payments that are in US dollars for all accounts, for all general accounts, for example. So, and I would create this rule, like there's a fixed fee. I would say like, okay, everybody who does this payment in USD would pay like $2 fixed fee and 3% fee on top of it, or without percentage, that depends. So, and you create this rule, and once you do that, users, they would see something similar to this. So, and right now I'm gonna confirm my investment, and what's gonna happen? Like $303, 300 plus $3 will be withdrawn from my wallet. The $300 will basically be frozen by a smart contract, and those $3 which are being paid as fee, they would go to the collected fees section. And so again, you use the admin panel to later withdraw them on your, so if it's dollars, then you would actually withdraw the real dollars on your bank account. So in my personal opinion, fees management section is one of the most important cases, because that's where you actually make money.
I would add that you should not treat this as a complete crowdfunding or crowd investing platform, but rather, again, the bricks that could be assembled really quickly to launch the particular one. So because we've been addressed many times, like saying, okay, guys, let us market this as a crowd investing solution, and it's actually not like it should work, because for the real solution in a particular country, one should make an analysis of the existing landscape, the competitors, etc., and come up with specific requirements. Yeah, indeed, we can implement them much faster than building from scratch, but TokenD itself is not a like B2C solution, as Bogdan said.
Yeah, I'll go further then. There's also this module for secondary trading, for trading of the assets which are accounted for in the platform. So users create buy orders, sell orders. For example, again, like I am an investor, I have invested in this startup, and let's say that the sale has been successful, and what would happen? What would happen is that I would receive the tokens of this crowdfunding sale, and now I want to trade them with some other people, and I would do that here. So I would create like a sell order, and it's quite straightforward, obviously. Like again, the trading pairs which are available here, this is something you also configure via admin panel. If I go to settings, I would see the account types which are right now available on the platform, so these are two account types this is how it works out of the box. So general, the only difference is that corporate account, I am corporate. Is that corporate account can create their own tokens. This is the only difference. Again, if it's a crowdfunding platform and it makes sense for end users to create tokens, it makes sense for you as a platform owner to allow your users to do that, then you would obviously have this account type. If it's like a bank, then you wouldn't have this account type, and this is something you just turn on and off. So, and these account type thing is quite flexible, meaning that you can specify however amount of account types you need, and they would differ according to operations they can perform on the platform and the limits you impose on them. So for example, if you want to provide a trading platform of securities, and you want to make sure that non-accredited investors cannot deposit more than or trade more than a certain amount, while accredited investors can do that, then you can, for example, split it into account types here, and you would gather certain information. So you would tell your users that, for example, okay, if you want to prove to me that you're accredited, then please provide the following KYC data. And so he would provide this KYC data, and again, you would use the admin panel to look through this KYC data and again, approve or reject it. When you approve it, then it means that this type of user will be upgraded to the account type, to a specific account type to which he has passed the KYC.
Okay, David asked about the storage of private keys and key recovery. So the principles are those. The keys are generated on the user devices, and the keys are never leaving the user device. They're stored in a way. There are a few ways, but the primary one is that if user needs to access the system from another device, the keys are being encrypted on the device and sent to the key server and stored in an encrypted form. When the user logins, or when user wants to access from another device, the ID is generated from the same login and password, sent to the key server, retrieved, the encrypted key is retrieved and decrypted on device. So basically, we never sent any passwords or keys over the network, over internet. So that's a very common approach. For example, I've been designing it in 2014 while working in Stellar. But before Stellar, again, it was used in blockchain info and Ripple, so it was quite established way to do this. So we just using this. And recovery works in a way that if user passed KYC, it means that certain information already stored about the user. And if the user loses their key, then he or she can pass KYC once again, and the admin will issue a new key. And the old key will be marked as like lost or stolen, and all assets will be like transferred or reissued from the old account. And yeah, we have the description of how it works, so it's also more or less standardized. So we have another question
from Bulent about admin reports.
We don't have a particular expert like this, but if customer needs that, that will be around like 1 week of work. API obviously exists, so all transactions could be accessed via API if the user has the corresponding rights. So we have a question from Paolo: how could TokenD help in the scenario of the public blockchain using DPoS? Like, first of all, we don't have a DPoS implementation out of the box. So I would challenge the needs of governance tokens. Okay.
Well, let me just briefly show the picture. So in this security protocol layer, right now TokenD works, regarding this question, obviously, right now TokenD works on top of a private Stellar ledger. So we forked the public one, and it's a private accounting system. So some features could be built on top of a public one, but right now, specifically out of the box, it uses private. But obviously that's possible in some.
So answering the question regarding DPoS, how it would work in this way. In this way, we will not use the out-of-the-box implementation. We will take the suitable implementation of DPoS and integrate the modules that are needed, that you already built, over that particular code base. So that would be solution. Out of the box, we can do that. Another question: do all clients use the same smart contracts? Like, they have the smart contract is just a piece of code and the business logic. It's no different from the logic that changes the screens on your mobile. It's just being implemented over some public ledger. It becomes like a smart contract. So technically, it is separate. Obviously, the code base is executed each time the client issues assets. So it's a separated smart contract. But you can't go and see that code base as a client. It's just like when you send transaction to the banking system, you have no access to the code base that's sent. As an administrator, obviously you have the access to the code base of the solution, but the client doesn't see this. It's like a normal code. How the solution will scale.
About this question, I just wanted to show Conto. So in some parts, I think it will answer the question, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll answer quickly and then you show. So yes, we have buy and sell gift exchange functionality. The scalability currently, we are working with projects that need less than 1 million transactions per day. In cases where it's needed and it's like treated individually, we can make up to like 5 million transactions per day. So, but the idea of TokenD is not to scale up to millions of transactions, because it would be a really expensive system. Rather have different independent system for each custodian. So there is no point, as we believe, to put all assets in the same system. What would rather should be done is like for each asset or for each company, there will be individual system. And obviously there are very few companies who need like millions of transactions, even per day. But everybody, the rest can use that now and without any like problem.
Yeah, obviously there is a list of modules needed for a payment system, but this is not like rocket science. You need an internal accounting, you need a digital wallet, you obviously need the KYC management. Sometimes yes, sometimes not, so that depends. Obviously, if it's a payment system, then you need a mechanism to configure fees, which your users pay, and different kind of things. If that's a highly productive system, and there's a lot of money, lying in this system, then you might need a very advanced admin permission management, where, as I said, you have different administrators who can do different things. And you can also, like, on top of it, you can implement like weights functionality. So for example, if there is a very responsible operation on the platform, for example, withdrawal of like 10 Bitcoins, then you can configure that like this withdrawal would require like approve from 3 administrators who are different people and who have the overall weight higher than the certain amount. So these are different business logics that again can be turned off and on depending on the needs. And there's a question, this is just only solution for a crowdfunding platform. No, this is not. So this is a solution for any kind of platform that uses digital assets, that uses a digital wallet. Sriram asked the question, if the goal is to take the TokenD system as is for a particular use case without customization, is there a ready-to-go solution for a specific use case? Yes, there is. And like in our practice, it takes like, I don't know, 2 weeks. So again, here you see the, it's operational. It might not be best from some, I don't know, design or some other perspectives, but it's all operational. So if you need a crowdfunding platform, then here it is. The only, the required work needs to be done for a specific project is trivially to change like the background, to change the logo, and maybe to customize some specific business logic. For example, like you can see that right now when I log in, it happens instantly and I can see all the user panel. Maybe in your platform, you want users that they first register, they provide KYC in this specific moment, not in the settings page here. And then they see just the wallet. So these are all different, business things that are customized. But if we speak about crowdfunding, if we speak about like a payment system or a digital wallet, then yes, it's already here and it could be like launched in a couple of weeks. Yes, there is a secondary market, and there's this trading internal exchange module, which allows you to trade tokens on the secondary market. So basically, you could think of the sales section as an initial market, and this is a secondary market with an internal exchange. There's also a module for a digital shop, so that I'm going to show you the system right now. It's called Conto. Basically, this is a good example of how something like this could be customized for a different use case to something like this. And you will see. So it looks, in some places it looks similar, but it has a bit different logic, business logic. It has a bit different accounts, types of accounts, and it has a different eventual goal. So yeah, I'm going to log in. The only difference between Conto and TokenD is that the number of modules is a bit different because Conto has specific need. And TokenD, this is a demo platform, and Conto, this is an actual production system. So Conto is something we built on top of TokenD. This is a kind of a ticketing platform, a platform for e-commerce and for selling tickets. There's a picture here. Yeah, so this is the basic idea of Conto. There are 2 user types here, clients and businesses. So businesses sell something to clients on the platform. And so they basically issue tokens or digital assets, which represent certain goods or merchandise that businesses sell. So it could be like a ticket to the conference. It could be some merchandise, shoes, anything. And then you have this digital shop where users see, your goods, your list of what you sell. And then users can buy these assets. The money will be received on the account of the business instantly, and users will have those assets in their digital wallet. And the best thing about it is that there's this, you can monitor the client base, and that's something different. So like basically all those steps that users are accomplishing here, they are already existing on the different e-commerce platforms. But monitoring client base, this is something different, because what users buy is this token, and token stored in a wallet. And this means that the business who sold this token can see wherever the token lies. So he can see all the transactions between each and every wallet. For example, like the best example is the tickets. As I said, we used Conto, this system, we used it to sell tickets on our conferences. So what is the best thing? Alternatively, if we use an aggregator through whom we sell the tickets, then this aggregator, we might know to whom we sell initially, but after some time we have absolutely no idea who has the actual ticket, because the actual ticket is either printed and we have no idea about who has this ticket right now, or even if it's kind of digitized, then it's wrong kind of digitization, because this ticket is PDF on the email, and PDF is not, you cannot monitor who has the PDFs, and PDFs can be double spended kind of. So this is one of I would say the most understandable use cases. Let me answer the question, and then I will show a bit more about this Conto functionality very, very briefly. So the question, does TokenD provide a blockchain of digital asset model, or is there some kind of shared ledger, such as Hyperledger, which position the blockchain function as a user data transfer and knows the tracking in a financial transaction? Answering the question, is there some kind of shared ledger? There could be a shared ledger if there is a need for it in the particular case. So if we launch a kind of a consortium system where shareholders of different companies account for their shares, and they do not trust, those different companies do not trust each other, then the system could be distributed between the companies, and each will have the node, and they will be synchronized. And if one of them, so obviously the distributed concept of blockchain is inside. So if one of them tries to outwit and do something that is wrong from the perspective of the protocol, then others would see it. Or if those others would do some bad things, which are not prohibited, then you could, for example, turn on the audit node, and you can have like an audit company who would also have this full node with a full ledger, but it won't be able to modify anything in the ledger, but it will be able to see all the information, which is everything that is happening in the system, and make sure that this is actually correct information, make sure that the auditor is not outwitted. So this is I just described one of the use cases where it makes sense to make it distributed. Yeah, in case of Conto, so you have this as a user. I'm a user, I'm a client who buys things. So I can see this digital shop. I can see the companies that sell something within the platform. One of them is Blockchain UA. It's basically we. So this conference should have been, we should have gathered people on this conference, but obviously it was canceled due to coronavirus. So you can see that this is like a kind of a business that's selling something. And there's a shop where you can see what it sells. Now I'll try to buy, for example, the ticket on the conference. Right now, the system is integrated with the payments. This Conto system is integrated with the local payment system in Ukraine. And how I buy the ticket is that I specify the amount. I don't know your promo code, but there is this feature, as you can see. So now I try to buy the ticket, and it transfers me to this screen where I would input my card data. Obviously, I wouldn't pay now because the conference is over. Once I click pay now, the actual money will be withdrawn from this card, and they will be deposited immediately on the card of the blockchain UA account of the owner of this account. And the system will automatically trigger the issuance of this ticket into my wallet, and I will have it here. And obviously I can transfer it. Here you can see I have a bunch of different goods. For example, the books that we sell, we also sell them through this platform. So let's imagine that this is a ticket, because it doesn't make really a lot of sense to transfer a book, but if it's a ticket, then it makes sense. For example, you bought a ticket to the conference, and you're ill, and you want to send it to your friend, then you would do it. And the best thing about the fact that this is done in a digital with a wallet and with blockchain is that the business can see whoever holds the assets that they sell. I mean, whoever of the clients actually own them. So let me log into the business account, and there's this customers list, and here I can see all the people that are somehow associated with my business. So basically, some of those people have bought my assets in this digital shop. I can see whether they're registered or not. I can see when they did any kinds of transactions with which of my with which of my goods. And obviously, if there is someone, if someone sends if I'm selling tickets to the conference and someone has bought a ticket from me and then sent it to another guy, then I would see it here. Yeah, I again encourage you to ask some questions if you have any.
If you have a case where all the users they passed verification and some registration, so the admin can recover keys. So no problem. Adi Shamir scheme is used in a case where you use fully anonymous accounts, and then you can split it by pieces and use the scheme. But for this kind of case, we could use much simpler solution that we already implemented.
So our focus was just to make sure, so there are private keys inside and it's all done with them, but we didn't want the end users to in any way interact with them. So it's done, as you can see, with email and with password. But even if you forgot your private key, if you forgot your password, then yes, Pavel said you can recover it, and you would just ask. Basically, what would happen is that you would ask administrator that, here I am. Do you remember me? I just really lost my password private key, and here's my KYC data for you to make sure that that's real me. And so if there's an administrator would sit there and he would make sure that, okay, that's this guy. I'm gonna recover the account for him. Honestly, a couple of years ago, I suppose, we didn't have this feature. And we also thought that why do you need blockchain, and all that stuff if actually there's an admin who can just recover an account and that's it. But when we started to actually implement the solution in real life, it turned out that things are pretty different in real life. It turned out that most people, they just care about first usability, and they care about, they do not want to take responsibility, at least not today. That was the moment we realized that we obviously need to implement this thing.
We use a private version of Stellar, and we also started to use Hyperledger for this purpose. So it obviously has a shared ledger. It's just the client is responsible for making the ledger shared. And there are a few ways. First of all, they can make ledger audit only. We have the software for external auditor. The auditor will not participate in consensus, just see the transactions. And there is an option to give the notes to other partners. In this case, it will be kind of a public ledger. But depending again to whom this ledger is given, whom the node, blockchain node.
Here you can see there's several nodes, but it could be one. For example, when we, before production, it's usually one, just not because it's cheaper to host, obviously. And it doesn't make sense for you to make it distributed. So, and when you understand that you reached a certain level where you need additional security, then you can optionally add more nodes, 4, 5, 10. No, no one has access to tokens of the user, because obviously what means that you have access is that you have the private key, and the private key is known only by the end user. So no one, including the platform owner in our case, knows their private keys. So in this way, they do not have access to the tokens. Again, how it works is that like physically, the private keys are basically stored on the servers of the platform owner, but no one has access to them, even if, again, hackers would hack your server and they would reach those kind of private keys. They are encrypted, and only the end user, when he sends transactions, when he logs into the platform, only user knows how to decrypt them. So each time a user wants to do something on the blockchain level, there's this key server, which, like, a user requests their keys. Key server sends the encrypted box with private keys to the user. User decrypts the keys locally on their device, signs the transaction, then encrypts them back, and the keys are being sent back to the key server where they're stored encrypted.